it's working on it. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, good. Jazakallah khair, thank you. We are in the ayat of Surah an-Najm. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us He's the one who calls us to laugh and to cry, to die and to live. And He's the one who created the pair, male and female. And I think we stopped last time in this ayah. وَأَنَّهُ خَلَقَ الزَّوْجَيْنِ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى. To elaborate a little bit on this ayah. Do you remember? Do you remember that? Last Friday? Sheikh Hussam. Huh? Go discuss, okay. وَأَنَّهُ خَلَقَ الزَّوْجَيْنِ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah of Surah an-Najm stating something very important. It's very obvious, very important. أنه خلق الزوجين الذكر والأنثى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created human being as male and as female. Every human being was born either male or female. Sometimes people have mixed gender physically of two organs. Some people like that, two organs, physically two organs. But the ulama then they say either is that person more male or female, and then we categorize them either male or female. Every human being was born either male or female. لو خلق الزوجين الذكر والأنثى. There's 5 points that I want to make on this issue. Number one, that the zawjiyah, the concept of parity, is a very important concept in Islam. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everything in pairs actually. الذي خلق الأزواج كلها. All praise to Allah, the one who created everything in pairs. ومن كل شيء خلقنا زوجين لعلكم تذكرون. We have created everything in pairs. This concept of parity, it is important because that we have to understand that nothing in this world can stand alone. Nothing in this world completely independent. There's interdependency. Only Allah is al-Ahad al-Fard al-Samad. Only Allah has absolute oneness, does not need anyone. الصمد الذي تحتاج له كل الخلائق ولا يحتاج لأحد. That everyone is in need of him, but he does not need of anyone else. Also, then when you talked about marriage, that the concept of zawjiyah, functioning marriage, when people act as pair. Listen carefully what I'm going to say. Functioning marriage, not dysfunctioning marriage. Functioning marriage, when people act as pair. Imagine like a bird has two wings. One wing, it is not functioning, the bird cannot fly. And this support system in a marriage has to come from both, from husband and wife. If one of them is not functioning, we call dysfunctional marriage. Very interesting, in Qur'an, if they are not agreed in basic things, they don't, Allah does not call them as waj. Call them a wife of imra'ah, imra'at Nuhin, imra'at Lut, imra'at Fir'aun, a wife of a woman of. Because they did this agreement, they don't have a complete harmony in a spiritual sense. Zawjiyah means that there is no selfishness in marriage. That people work together is not I and I and I. It is we and we and we and us, not me. And one of the biggest problems that we see in relationship, when people who are self-centered and enter a relationship, self-centered and enter a relationship, with the understanding that the other person, whether a husband or wife, is there to be evolving around their orbit. And it's not going to work. The examples of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. His wife, Khadija radiallahu anha, gave him all support he needed. Matter of fact, she gave all her money. When they boycott, she wanted to boycott with him. And she died actually in that conditions. Where there's no enough food. She was bleeding. Her lips bleeding because she ate, it was not eatable. All of it, she gave it. But the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave his wife everything that the husband will give and more. He is the one that served in the household. كان في مهنة أهله. Many people said to me, your talk sometimes create problems in homes. But if I talk about Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I don't care if it creates a problem or not. Just act like a Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Correct that. You should not create a problem. You should create better understanding. But Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to help in the household. In some culture, if a man wash a dish, subhanallah, is not a man. Am I correct? Like washing dishes, they're supposed to be women. Really? Rasul used to wash dishes, used to fix his shoes, and there is no man more than Rasul. Everyone less man than Rasul. He is the man. Period. The examples, the model of manhood. Also, our sisters look to the Khadija radiallahu anha as an example of a woman that's willing to give everything to her husband cause. Those are the models examples they look for. This tension between genders, people enter marriage with the intention that we're going to enter it, I'm entering a war, gender war. Male, female. No. That's what the problem is. One of the biggest problems is the concept called individualism. You heard of it? Individualism. It's okay to, as an individual, to take responsibility of our actions and to believe that we'll be asked alone before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every one of us. But when we, in a marriage, you have to act as pair. And that parity requires humility, requires an open mind, an open heart, requires service, giving of your best of yourself. That's what it requires. And when we don't do that, we create problems. Subhanallah, we live in a world that promotes self-centered culture. Even our machines, all called iPhone, iPad, even our machine, name them an I. And therefore, and not only that, even children been raised like that. You know how sometimes children talk to their parents in this contemporary time? I never talked to my father like that. Never did. I this, and I this. Not we, not as a family. They don't talk about as family, they talk as individuals. Don't do that. You have to think as a family. By the way, that's not my children. I'm not so my children. They are not talking to me like that. But sometimes we have this problem. I. The other thing is that to promote a culture that it is very not, what I call it, does not appreciate that you vulnerable and you're in need. Self-confidence is very important. Have self-confidence, but also we are vulnerable. And sometimes we promote the idea that you should not show your vulnerability. You know, in my life, I've met many humble people who they show vulnerability in the time that you think that they are strong. And that is, by the way, Rasulullah showed vulnerability. He cried. When he wanted his wife, he said, I'm scared. He said, لعلك خفت. He said, yes, I'm scared. زملوني زملوني دثروني دثروني. Cover me, cover me. Vulnerability. When you believe in that, then you believe in need of others. Need of others. You know, my need and your need can be fulfilled from one another. How? Have you the idea of building a community? You know, it's very fascinating in Islam that most of the rituals have, I say all of them, have social components. Why you do Salat Jama'ah? Because somebody is going to ask the Imam, saying, my father is sick, make dua for him. Then the entire community knows that the person's father is sick. Make dua. You know, you see a person in the masjid, then you come to know they're in need. And you reach out to them and help them. Help building community. You know? And the Rasul ﷺ in Jum'ah asked a man to stand up. It's a Maliki opinion. When he sat down, he happened to stand up so that people can see this person is a stranger and he's in need. So that after Salah, they can help him. But this idea of zawjiyah, very fascinating idea. Dr. bint al-Shati, Aisha bint al-Shati, rahimahullah, he looked at the concept of zawjiyah in the Qur'an and came with this amazing analogy of zawjiyah. And Dr. Aisha bint al-Shati, why they mention those people? Because sometimes you don't realize there's the female scholars. She's an amazing scholar of Islam. And she said that if you look at the concept of zawjiyah in the Quran, whether in relationship, whether in the universe, she said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this world in a way that zawjiyah is a universal phenomenon. And fardiyah, being lone and so forth, it is not social norms. It is not the natural way. And every time you want to separate everything you will not understand in zawjiyah, you get in trouble. And she said that zawjiyah, even in concepts, in virtues, in everything that you do. And she said the lack of understanding that created ideologies that completely miss the point. Single view. It's not holistic. And I found that to be very fascinating because she went in details on this issue. And therefore, today, what we would like to do to bring the world back to the zawjiyah concept. Zawjiyah concept. Parity concept. The last things I want to say, and then in the khatira, Islam is a beautiful religion. Sometimes people say to me, say that to them, they know it's a beautiful religion. It has the most profound understanding of human nature. Period. Why? Because when you follow the divine definition, which is of the maker and the creator of the world, you never go wrong. When you go to other isms, and you try to redefine things other than the ulum al-wahi, the science of revelations, the Qur'an, then you get all of these always partitions, ideas. And therefore I just want to invite you to contemplate the Quran by going follow the word zawj in the Quran and zawjiyah. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala كل شيء خلقنا زوجين لعلكم تذكرون. That's the point she made, by the way. She looked at the ayah and said ومن كل شيء خلقنا زوجين لعلكم تذكرون. But we have created everything in pair so that you might be reminded. When she said we forgotten, that zawjiyah, it is a no. Allah said لعلكم تذكرون, and we forgot, and therefore we went wrong as a human being. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت عافنا فيمن عافيت تولنا فيمن توليت اكفنا شر ما قضيت انك تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما تفرقنا من بعد تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل فينا ولا منا ولا بيننا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار. ادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار برحمتك يا عزيز يا غفار. اللهم انصر المستضعفين في كل مكان. اللهم كل الأرامل واليتامى والمساكين. اللهم إنك ترى مكانهم وتسمع دعاءهم ولا يخفى عليك حالهم. اللهم إنك تسمع صراخ الأطفال وأنين الأرامل، وأنت الله لا إله إلا أنت الرحيم، أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت الودود. اللهم ارحم ضعفهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم قوهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم كن لهم يا رب العالمين ولا تكن عليهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم نسألك يا مولانا يا عظيم يا حليم أن تجعل جمعنا هذا جمع مرحوما تفرقنا من بعد تفرقا معصوما ولا فينا ولا منا ولا بيننا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم هذا إدبار ليلك وإقبال نهارك وصوت دعاتك فاغفر لنا فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. أصبحنا وأصبح الملك لله لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم نسألك خير هذا اليوم وخير ما فيه وخير ما بعده، ونعوذ بك من شره وشر ما فيه وشر ما بعده. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا، محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبينا ورسولا. صلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.